Welcome, everyone, to the fourth episode of the 792 Florida Sports Podcast. I am Hunter Williams. We will be joined by Eric Clark, hopefully towards the end of the episode. And we have a special guest today from Dream King Films, Philip Myers. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on with y'all like that, man?
All right. Obviously, we saw some pretty good kickoff classics this past week. Both up here in Northeast Florida and statewide. I know, like, the two of the big matchups I did see was Armwood playing Lee, and then Columbia hosting Colquitt. I think you were at the Lee Armwood game.
No, I had one of my camera guys there, but I was personally at the Reigns and Ed White game. But I did, break down the tape, review it, so I did basically get a good look at it. So. Okay,
so what did you see with the Reigns Ed White game?
Pretty much a whole bunch of defense out of Reigns. Their defense, they played really fast. Their offense was coming along. They got a new quarterback in Adrian Williams. He looked poised to do some great things this year. But for the most part, Reigns defense, that secondary, Trayvon Hobbs, you got the young guy, Kyrie Hammond. He stepped up, had a lot of huge plays, 3 interceptions, including 1 pick six. So that's what I noticed the most out of Reigns, that their defense really did come to play, and their quarterback, Adrian Williams, looks to be poised, like I say, to do some great things this year. So that's basically what my takeaway from the Reigns game.
I was very impressed, Reigns, be able to dominate Ed White as well as they did, because, a few weeks ago, I had Ed White pegged as a potential sleeper up in Jacksonville. So for Reigns to come in and just completely destroy Ed White, that did catch me a little bit by surprise.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. I didn't think they would come in and roll them 47-0. I thought it would be, more so of a 28-21, 21-14 type of game with Ed White making a ton of plays, because I did thought Ed White was turning the corner. So I was taken back as well by that 47-point win. I didn't think Reigns would go over to the west side and shut them out 47-0. So I was really surprised. But with that being said, Reigns, the young guys made a lot of plays too. They JV, a few of their points came from their backup players, but nonetheless, it was still a lot of hand though.
So you said that you saw some breakdown of the film with Armwood and Lee. How much, with them, what was your first impressions with seeing both teams for that game?
Well, my first impression was with Armwood. It looked like they have enough to make it back to the state championship game. You know what I'm saying? And then with Lee, I thought their defense played well, but I thought their offense let them down a little bit. I believe they had 4 interceptions. I believe Armwood had a fumble recovery or something for a touchdown from one of their D linemen. So I actually thought Lee defense played really, really, really well. It's just I thought their offense let them down. And against a team like Armwood, if you don't play well in all 3 phases, it's bound to be a 29-0 game.
I will say, though, that with Armwood, they would probably be a good chance of making to the finals if they didn't have to be stuck with Lakeland being in their region. That's going to be a tough one. Though I'm looking forward to...
Lakeland is going to be a really tough team for them to make it through, but hey, it's like they was in the state championship game last year, and I don't really know what Lakeland got to offer this year, but what I've seen out of Armwood, they look to be pretty good, because Lee is no slouch team. They got a young quarterback, but they got plenty of speed, plenty of weapons on that offense, and they no slouch. So I was really surprised at how Armwood at how they came to play, and I really do think they got enough to make it back. Not sure what Lakeland got this year, though.
To answer the question, Lakeland are pretty loaded, but back to this game, I was very surprised to see Lee get shut out.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised as well. Like I said, I think their offense let them down. They had a couple good drives here and there, but ultimately a turnover cost them scoring opportunities. But yeah, I was really surprised to see them get shut out, though, to tell you the truth. I didn't necessarily think they would win, because I thought Armwood was a step ahead of them. But I was just surprised to see how their offense was pretty much lackluster.
Yeah, I believe on our past show we basically all ended up picking across the board with Armwood winning that game, but I am surprised with how it was a shutout. as for another kickoff classic, speaking of Lee, Columbia, who's in their district, played Colquitt County. Considering Columbia had 7 players out for that game. I was a bit surprised how close we were able to keep it, and very impressed by it. We do have some work to do. Obviously, we probably need to get a little bit better on blocking. When we start to get to some of these games, we'll definitely need some good blocking tonight against Trinity Christian. Hopefully, with Marquez coming back tonight, we'll be able to get a little bit better production in the passing game. I was impressed with Jordan. He looked like the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks up here in Northeast Florida. In that game last night.
That is a true statement. He is one of the best. But I did notice. I didn't see the game, but I seen a few highlights. I noticed he had on a red jersey, so I didn't know how to take that. You know what I'm saying? Because what he was off limits, couldn't be tackled or anything like that.
And I think from what I was told before the game, one of the agreements that Colquitt had when they decided to play it was they wanted no contact for the quarterbacks. Columbia.
Okay, so it was on both sides.
Yeah, it was on both sides. I don't think Columbia was not really a fan of having to do it, but I guess when you have to convince Colquitt County to come play you, I guess you can't really make much demands. You kind of just have to go with what they want.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know what to read into. I didn't know if it was because of Columbia had a bad offensive line or they were just trying to protect Jordan. I didn't know what was the reason behind it, but I know in years past he had played full speed whoever he lined up against, whether it was a kickoff classic or whatever. So I was just a little shocked by it, but I didn't know it was at the request of Colquitt though.
I did also of the technical sacks that Colquitt had, none of those would have been sacks in a real game. Most of I think that Colquitt finished with 3. All of them were one-handed tags in the back.
Yeah, just like touches and stuff like that. Yeah, I did see that a few times though. Yeah, just like a couple touches and stuff like that.
During the game, one of our players ended up accidentally actually sacking the Colquitt quarterback. I'm surprised they didn't throw a flag on it, but it was kind of funny.
Did they get upset about that?
Nah. But it was kind of fun. It was just funny because they're not supposed to bring the quarterback down, but they didn't. I guess they didn't take it as serious enough offense to throw a flag on it.
Okay, and also I want to throw in also I was at the Rebold and First Coast game Thursday because we had games here in Duval County. Some people kicked off Thursday, and some people had kicked off that Friday. So that Thursday, I was at Rebold versus First Coast, and I believe I had a camera at Bishop Kenny versus Gainesville. Not sure if that game got played Thursday or Friday, but I do know I got a ton of highlights online from that game as well. But my take on the First Coast versus Rebold game is that both of those teams right there, their defenses are serious. You know what I'm saying? First Coast, Kriston Johnson, Jamal Gilson, 2 of the best linebackers in the city. I mean, these guys are playing lights out, hard hits all game long. Held Rebold offense to 6 points. Really, really good offense. Got a ton of speed, ton of playmakers over there, and they pretty much held them to 1 touchdown pass from Chris Calhoun to Freddie Manning. That combination right there is gonna be special in years to come. Rebold was down a playmaker, Chris Johnson. He didn't play. But First Coast defense was lights out, nonetheless, and Rebold defense was lights out as well. A bunch of big hits. Darnell Wilson, middle linebacker Darnell Wilson, smashing all game. Keontae Jenkins, defensive back, one of the best in the area. He was smashing all game. Rebold running back Josh Jones. He had, I believe, over 100 all-purpose yards in that game, so he looked really, really, really good. And he's going to have a breakout year this year. But my takeaway from that game, most importantly, is just the defenses. Devon Davis from First Coast had 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick six, which actually won the game because the game was tied 6-6 at that point. And like I say, man, just the defenses, it was playing lights out. Now, Tyree Saunders, who actually won Super 11 or was selected as one of the Times Union Super 11 players, he didn't play. So he didn't play for First Coast, which he's a receiver, one of the best in the area. He didn't play for First Coast. and Chris Johnson then played for Reebok. So we might have got a few more points if these two guys had played, but nonetheless, the defense was outstanding. And then going to the Bishop Kennet versus Gainesville game, Bishop Kennet, they just weren't. Bishop Kennet wasn't ready for Gainesville. Gainesville came out, their defense was just too fast. Terrell Jackson had an interception. Number one, I don't know his name. He had a pick six. He started out the scoring. I believe Gainesville rolled Bishop Kennet maybe 25 zip or something like that. But my takeaway from that is Bishop Kennet offense need to get up and rolling. They got a great quarterback in George Foreman, but they just need to get up and rolling. They got Fletcher tonight. It's going to be a tough matchup. I predict Fletcher to win that game, but if Bishop Kennet want to make any noise, they have to get that offense rolling.
All right. I was going to, with Reebok, do you think there's going to be any impact, like, as a team-wise from their coach being removed this close to the season?
Well, there's going to be a little impact. I would be naive to say no, because anytime you lose a head coach this close, to the season, it got to have some kind of impact, whether it's emotional or whatever, because, Coach Smith had a personal connection, not just a coach-player connection, but he had a personal connection with a lot of those kids. So I'm pretty for sure mentally it's going to affect them. But the beginning of the first coach game, they had a message from Coach Smith printed on a T-shirt, and it simply just said, "Stay focused." So I think the kids going to rally around that theme right there. Just stay focused and do your job. They still some bangers. They still know how to play. They still know how to catch. They still got to execute. I think it'll mess with them a little bit mentally, but once the ball get kicked off, and the games, they count now. They for real. So I don't think it'll too much. But Coach Smith was the defensive coordinator at the same time, so I don't quite know what they would lose scheme-wise. I don't know who's taking over that part or who's calling the plays, so they may lose something scheme-wise. I don't know. They may run it the same. So it's just something to think about from that perspective. But from a player perspective, I don't think it'll They on a mission. They want to make the playoffs. They want to go deep. They got Reigns in their district this year. It's for all the marbles this year. Is much more on the line than years past, with Reigns being in 5'8". So I don't think it'll affect them too much.
All right. It's with Northeast Florida. So there's going to be very good games up in this area for this week. In fact, potentially one of these best games in North Florida will be Trinity Christian and Columbia, which actually made one of the national pick'em games over on the Prep Force site. There's other games as well we're going to try to hit on, but we'll just start with that one. What's your expectation with Trinity Christian traveling to Columbia for this game?
Well, my expectations is based on last year's game that it's going to be, again, a bunch of big plays on offense, a bunch of hard hits on defense. You got two great coaches going at it, Coach Brian Allen, Coach Berlin Dormany. You got their schemes going to be pitted against each other. You got Division I prospects, Division I commits on Trinity side. You got Division I prospects and commits on the Columbia side. So it's going to be like a small college game. It's going to be a whole bunch of talent on the field. Now, I do think Trinity going to win. They're going to pull it out by a small margin. But my expectations is the same as last year, man. Just a bunch of big plays on offense, a bunch of hard hits on defense, and the game going to set itself up to an epic finish at the end, which I think Trinity will come out victorious. But that's my small takeaway from it.
But you would not be surprised if Columbia won the game.
Oh, definitely wouldn't be surprised. It was a one-point game last year, and a controversial one-point game that Columbia felt like they was slighted by referees, and not saying that they don't have a legitimate claim at that, because if you see the play was a fumble in the end zone, Jordan did recover the ball in the end zone. Like, he fumbled the ball in the end zone, recovered it in the end zone, but whatever the refs ruled, it was in Trinity's favor, and they won the game. So, no, I would definitely not be surprised. Columbia, like I said, great head coach, great fans, great atmosphere, ton of Division I prospects on both sides. No, definitely would not be no surprise if Columbia won.
I did see one a picture after the game where they actually someone had a picture lined up with the goal line. They basically showed that Columbia was over, but of course, you know what they say, if you go into a game like that